Hey wrestling friends, and welcome to episode number 15 of Suplexes and Microphones. I'm Nate, we got Joe over there. In between us today we have Tracer X. And Tracer, we've seen you wrestle numerous times, and it's always good to watch you work, and also it's looking forward to this chance to talk to you and just get to know you a little bit better. So thanks for coming and being with us.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for having me. I've been actually looking forward to this for a while, ever since you guys started doing it. So
Awesome.
That was 15 episodes later. It's nice to finally be here.
Got you in.
And that's on us because you're actually one of the first people I messaged about, hey, we're going to start doing this thing. Do you mind? And you're like, oh, no problem. One of the things I want to get into first with you is we recently interviewed Chip Day. Mm-hmm. And we know Chip Day has this long list of nicknames. And he admitted he actually stole that from David Starr.
Yeah. But
it's something that you've picked up on here lately. I'm going to name a few here. The Friendly Neighborhood Tracer.
Yep.
X going to give it to you. The Independent Variable. Mm-hmm. Is there any more I've left out?
Recently, coming from Robert Truesdale because of
Redbeard.
Yeah, all because of his YouTube channel. Basically, he put up a status calling me the ratings machine just because one match has like 10,000 views or something. So he's like, he's the ratings machine. So I shared it jokingly, like, now promoters, or announcers, here you go. So Brett Wolverton really took the ball on that one at the last PWX show. I wasn't expecting it, so he's like, throw your X up for the ratings machine.
There you go.
So.
I came up with one, and I told Nate about it, and Nate came up with one better. So,
okay.
As usual, I'll give an idea, and he'll go, why don't we do this instead? I'm like, man, you got me again. My thought was, he's the straight edge on your razor, because you're straight edge, and it's kind of a play on words. But Nate said...
Well, you got the straight edge thing going on, and your dinosaur gimmick, straight edgeosaurus.
Ha!
So we can add those, or at least one of those, to probably Nate's. Mine's a little corny. But... That would be a good start. Any others that we maybe haven't heard yet that you've got churning in the back of your mind?
Not really. There's just variations of Tracer X, my brother called me, which, the dinosaur gimmick kind of stems from that one being Traceosaurus Rex. So that's really where the whole T-Rex comes from, and why that I incorporated that now, and why this is here.
Right.
So...
And that's actually the one I bought for my daughter. You signed the back, and I got one for my son, but obviously I didn't need but one for tonight. But yeah, we're going to get into the dinosaur connection at some point during this interview. But the first thing I want to do, and it's going to probably involve, you mentioned Advocare, which you have Spark sitting here, and you have the shirt on, and we do know that you're a rep. You have definitely one of the leanest bodies in independent wrestling, and there are people, we've heard girls screaming, things like that, so there are people that appreciate your physique. I don't see you on Instagram posting pictures from the gym, and so I've always been curious, and I've never asked you directly, like, what's the workout routine looking like? And also, obviously, abs are made in the kitchen, so let's talk diet and let's talk Advocare. So tell us about that.
Working out, switch it up. Try to do one muscle group a day. Sometimes I'll double up supersetting just to conserve time. If I've got a full week of wrestling, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Can't make it Friday, so like Monday I'll do chest and biceps, and Tuesday I'll do back and triceps. Just something to kind of intertwine and kind of get everything how it should be.
Okay. So let me ask you, as far as you're talking about lifting weights, do you do traditional bodybuilding type of exercises and routines, 8 to 12 reps, that sort of thing? Mm-hmm. Okay.
We'll do that. I work out with Josh Cutshaw for the most part. Some days we'll go different times or something of that nature. But we'll usually start like our first set. It'll be a pyramid set of, warming up at 12, 10, 8, 6, 4. And then, the next few sets will be maybe 3 to 4 sets of 12. It really just varies about what we're doing. We'll switch up workouts every now and then. Like there's a particular workout type we like called the DTP, where it's basically a lot of reps, but also combined with a lot of weight. Like you'll start for legs. God, I hate DTP legs, but you feel accomplished once you do it. You start 50 reps with like kind of lightweight, and then when you go down reps, you add more weight to it.
Right.
So it's like 50, 40, 30, 20, 10. And then once you get down to that 10, you start over going back up, but taking weight off. So it all just really varies on the week, and we'll switch it up every now and then. Shock the system to that way we kind of see results instead of plateauing and feeling like we're not really going anywhere.
Okay. All right. So tell us a little bit about Advocare real quick.
Advocare, I cannot put Advocare over enough. Like, I know 2 years ago I started drinking, or I didn't start drinking Monsters, but I was drinking Monsters before shows. Like, I need energy for this, and I would just feel terrible afterwards. Like, I would drive home from shows and be like, falling asleep at the wheel. I would even drink Monsters to like study for tests and stuff while I was in college. But Jared Fritz actually turned me on to Spark here, and ever since then I haven't had a Monster in 2.5 years, and that's a major accomplishment for me. Like, I feel better. Granted, I look better than I did drinking Monsters just because there was so much sugar sitting like on my gut. Like, I feel like I look better than I did 2 years ago. There's just so much health and wellness products from Advocare that are just they're for really anybody, whether it's needing more energy or weight loss or even just vitamins. They even have just breath spray.
Oh, really?
That I'll use before a match just because it's just so potent and minty. It'll actually open up your nose and help you breathe. So like sometimes if I pass people in the crowd, they're like, "He smells like mint."
Minty fresh.
Yeah, it's like I just brushed my teeth, but it's like, whew, all right, let's do this.
Right. One of the success stories I've seen and read about on Facebook and such is people that are trying to get away from drinking sodas and things, and they switch to Spark, which is obviously way less calories, way less sugar, and things like that. So have you personally, you just mentioned Monster, but have you seen that in the people that you sell to and that sort of thing?
Oh, yeah. Not just me, but there's a few people. Like James Drake, he still partakes in Monsters and Coke Zeros and things of that nature. But when he did the 24-day jump start, he's mentioned that in the first 10 days, the cleanse phase of it, he didn't really have any cravings for any of those things. Like, he just wanted to, eat more healthy.
Right.
And, because of that, when he was on it, he lost, gosh, I don't remember how much, but he was dropping weight fast.
Right. Okay. So I think Nate would agree with me. In the last year and a half, I believe we've seen you more than any other individual wrestler in the ring, which is obviously good because you're getting booked at a lot of places, and that's what you want for success.
And repeat bookings.
Right, exactly.
I'm just glad that you guys want to keep seeing me.
Yeah, and you're definitely a draw, ratings machine. We've seen you face all types of opponents. Darius Lockhart, when we interviewed him, we had a long conversation about y'all's match at PWX, What Lies Beneath. Nate and I still talk about your match here at Viral Pro with Rob Killjoy. Viral Pro, wasn't that the debut Viral Pro show?
It was, yeah.
And that was match of the night. So, in your mind, who are some of your favorite opponents? Who are some people that really bring out the best in you?
Really, if I had to pick like a top 3 sort of deal,
yeah.
Darius for sure is at the top just because we have such chemistry, and we get to do it again tonight here at Viral Pro. We started at CWA in Orangeburg, South Carolina, and that was the first time I ever met him. And we were kind of indifferent about each other at the time. We weren't friends. We didn't know each other, so it was our first ever meeting. Like, just even shaking hands, like, "Hey, what's up?" But then we took that story and went to PWX, and now here at Viral we get that Georgia edition.
Sure.
Yeah. So let's see, Rob Killjoy, another one, phenomenal worker. I love working with Rob. Whether it's on the same side or opposite, we've done both, and it's just great chemistry. And Josh Cutshaw, like, we actually got to do a feud at SWA in Forest City, North Carolina.
Okay.
And the promoter pretty much just gave us free reign over it. And it was just such, building. And the crowd absolutely hated him, loved me. It was just the perfect underdog story. Okay. And basically the final stipulation was if I lost to him, I would quit wrestling. But he had to not cheat in any way, shape, or form. And, he hits me with the belt after the referee's been down. covers 1, 2, 3, and the crowd is losing their mind. Like, oh my God, Trace Rex is done. And the promoter comes out, restarts the match because he cheated, and he's taunting my mother, who's in the crowd, obviously, just taunting her with my lifeless body, and she decides that she wants to jump the guardrail and throw a fake spider at him. Well, because of that, she took away everything that we've been working towards, because in that second, I rolled him up 1, 2, 3, and the crowd didn't care about that moment. They cared about the lady that just jumped the guardrail.
Right.
And if anybody follows me on my YouTube channel, I have a video called "It's Still Real to Her, Damn It," where she has jumped the guardrail at another event and is like beating up the person that is like trying to break my arm.
Oh wow.
So.
Now, was that rehearsed? Was that planned for her to jump the rail?
That's her going into business for herself.
Okay.
So then I want you to promise me if I'm ever at a show when she's there, you got to introduce me.
Oh,
I
okay.
got to meet this lady.
Were you at the last PWX show?
No, I was not. Not
Okay.
X16. Sorry.
Okay.
But
I'm trying to think when was the last. All right.
we'll work it out.
next-
It's going to be in
next
North
time-
Carolina probably, right?
Yeah, next time
Okay.
I'll for sure.
All right. So, and we were talking about facing opponents, and you named Killjoy and Lockhart and Cutshaw, obviously 3 of the big names in the Southeast for sure. We've never seen you face live play heel, but you have, correct?
Once or twice.
Okay.
Once or twice. It's not like my best role, I would say.
Do you think that's because you have this baby face look and that sort of thing?
The clean cut kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's from years of I guess like being nice to people. They're just like it's hard for me as Trace Rex to be mean in a way.
Yeah.
But like me outside of wrestling, oh yeah, ask anybody, they're like, oh, he's a jerk.
Really?
Like I'm not a fan of people just because I worked in customer service. I worked in customer service for 9 years,
Okay.
so I've seen everybody's just like, why are you talking to me? Like I don't like people. I'm kind of introverted when it comes to like dealing with people in social situations. It's like I'm just gonna hang out by myself over here. But like when I come to wrestling, it's totally different because I'm in my element. Like
Sure.
I can just be who I want to, and it's fun.
Yeah.
Well, plus, good guys sell more gimmicks.
Yeah,
So
that's it.
it's-
Yeah.
That's always a
you,
plus.
you move a lot of those. So
That's right. I know we bought several shirts from you. There's one. I know my daughter has that Jurassic Park looking shirt, among others. Speaking of the attire, there was a question that someone asked Bill Clinton in the 90s, and this got so much attention. They asked him boxers versus briefs. So with you, I want to say tights versus the pants. We've seen you wear both. What's the current set of pants or tights you're wearing, and why do you switch? Which one do you prefer?
I switched up to long tights because Zane Riley, actually, when I was wearing the bikers and stuff to PWX, was like, get long tights.
Mhm.
Something about my legs. Chip Day mentioned I've got tiny legs, which I talked to him about that. I voiced my frustrations to him for that. But he said switch to long tights, so I went with the blue and orange ones.
Right.
And those were very different. They were kind of tough to get used to, but I liked them overall. I still do. So that's why I switched to the black. I got the black and pink ones made up. And then I just wanted to switch it up, be a little bit more different. So X16 time, I messaged James Drake and was like, hey man, I want some trunks. I got the Jurassic Park design put on the back of one.
Okay.
And then I got another pair that's going to be like special occasions, purple and gold, really, really flashy. I wore day 2 of the X16 against David Starr and Elijah Evans.
Okay.
So, bikers or trunks versus long tights. I'm in the middle. It just depends on what's clean that week, what smells good. So.
What smells good? All right, so a lot of times, if you follow a lot of these independent wrestlers in the Southeast, you'll see a picture of them in the vehicle. They've got 2 or 3 guys, a manager, another worker that might not be booked or whatever, like making the drives and that sort of thing. And quite often I see you in an empty car and you know post the same thing. Here I am with my friends. So what do you think with the driving solo thing? Do you think it's because of where you're basically based out of? There's nobody nearby that you can pick up, or something else?
I think that might be partially it, because Asheville is like 2 to 3 hours away from any venue or show I'm booked on. I mean, it took 4 hours to get here today.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, a lot of people are along the way, but they're also like kind of closer to the venue.
Sure.
Based out of Charlotte. So I'm not sure people's reasoning. I guess it's just like, oh, you know, I'm not booked, so why should I go, sort of deal. But you know, with that mentality, you're never gonna get booked.
Mhm.
Like, I took a chance one weekend, went to PWX in Hickory. Now I'm one of the main guys on the
Sure.
roster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you don't take that chance on yourself, then why should this promoter? So,
Sure. Yeah.
but actually today we had almost a full car, so
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah. And you know, I kind of know your humor a little bit because I mentioned this to Nate the other day. A lot of people don't realize how funny you are. And I think you posting those pictures, and maybe you got this guy sitting in the passenger seat or something, like, and all my friends, I get a kick out of it because I think that's you just not really throwing shade at anybody for not riding, but just more or less, look at this.
It's a mix of both. Just because I'll see people like post up like, oh, I'm not booked this weekend. It's like, well, you could ride with me.
Mhm.
So like I'll have people actually message me and like be like, what's the situation like here? Like, what's the plan? How are you going? I'll tell them, and they'll read it, and then that's it.
Yeah.
It's like,
No response. Yeah.
all right, cool. So like somebody did that. I saw where they saw it. They see me see it, and I saw them at a show like the next weekend. And I shook their hand and I went scene, and they were stopped in their tracks, and I had to explain it to them. Like, oh, I went, yeah, scene, and then
Left me on red.
yeah, they just walked away, and I was in that conversation.
Wow.
Do you mind talking about your shoot job, your Monday to Friday job, what you do?
Not at all. I'm a software developer. I know it's much different than a lot of indie guys do. I know that I don't know what a lot of people do. I don't really ask, but
Watch our interviews. We talk about it. So.
Yeah.
But a lot of people have just different jobs. But me, it's like, okay, well, I went to school for X amount of years, pun intended, to be a software developer, and that's what I do. My company works with software that deals with electronic health records for I guess like therapists and like mental hospitals and stuff like that. So
Okay.
I get to do like make the screens all pretty for them and stuff, or fix reports. So
Okay. Well, about a year ago now, it was last March 2017, we interviewed our very first person for Suplex and Microphones, and it was Ethan Case. And that night at PCW, Ethan was announced as the head trainer for the new Palmetto Wrestling Academy. However, during the interview, before that announcement came out, he was pretty vocal about being the only person he really trained. And you could tell there was a lot of pride there when he talked about you. What was it like to be trained by Ethan, and how do you feel about like having that as part of your pedigree, that hey, this is the guy that trained me?
I mean, I love telling people that Ethan Case trained me, just because they're like, oh man, I love Ethan.
Sure.
So there's that connection there of like, oh, well, he trained you, so you must be a cool dude. And I loved it. There were some moments though, I don't know if he talked about it, because you guys recorded that last March. I don't know if he talked about it. I've slept since then. It doesn't look like it, but I have. There was one day in training we're taking clotheslines, and instead of bumping like right here where he's hitting me, I like float like over here. So he's like telling me like, man, you got to bump right there. You're gonna hurt yourself. And I just kind of like shrugged it like, if I get hurt, I get hurt. Like, he didn't like that response at all.
Mhm.
Man, I'll tell you that when he shot me off and closed on me, I bumped right there, and that wasn't me doing it.
He made sure.
He made sure I bumped it. And now like we can look back and laugh at it, but like he was very heated in that moment.
He was teaching a lesson.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, well, I learned now. And the other trainer was like, let's go outside, Ethan. And
Yeah.
so there was that, but there was fun. We learned a lot, and I'm glad that he's actually getting to train more people, and more people are getting to learn from him.
Yeah. Well, he's getting phenomenal reviews from everyone that He's training over there. Kevin Ray and James Johnson, all these other guys are just raving about how good of a trainer he is.
We've really seen them improve. The past
Yes,
years as well.
it's incredible how fast they've improved working with Ethan. But we're talking good about Ethan, but I want to talk a bad story about Ethan. A match last year, and I asked you about the date, and you remembered exactly.
I've got it in my calendar. So
May 13th of 2017, a match with Jacob Ryan and Ethan Case. And there was a visit to the dentist office afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about that, how that spot happened, and tell us exactly, what the injury was.
Well, let's see. Ethan, myself, and Jacob Ryan were in a triple threat at CWA, and I just gotten bumped off the top, and I'm laying there. Ethan goes to give Jacob Ryan his underhook front flip. I can never remember the name of it, but he grabs him under both arms and goes to flip him onto me. I was like, I'm kind of far out, so I slide in a little, scooch in just a little bit. When Jacob Ryan bumps, his elbows were kind of flared out, and I'm not putting this on him or anything. It's a group effort, but his elbow actually hit me in the mouth right here, and I thought I lost my teeth. I thought they were out. So I did and they were just not where they were. So I freaked out. We're in South Carolina. If there's blood, you have to call the MAPS in 2 minutes. So I rolled out and I went to the back, got some water. They were just knocked in. And I fractured my jaw right here.
Wow.
So yeah, that was scary. We went back to Asheville. Me and Josh and I, excuse me, grammar. I actually ended up taking him to the ER because he had thought he had a spider bite on his arm right here. So
Was it from the spider your mom threw?
no, totally different.
I was thinking that too.
But he had a spider bite here, so I had to take him to the ER, which was funny. So I'm in all this pain right now. My face is broken, and he's like,
And you're driving him, right?
I drove him, and I even asked the lady at the front desk, I'm like, hey, do y'all have a dentist here? She's like, why? And I went, she's like, oh my God. But yeah, so the next day they popped those teeth back into place, and I eventually had to get root canals.
Oof. Wow. I remember seeing the pictures of you, maybe on Instagram or Facebook or both, posted from the dentist office. It looked pretty rough.
Yeah.
That was an expensive spot then, wasn't it?
It was. And since then, a few other people have actually had mouth injuries. Jacob Ryan messed up his teeth and had to get one of them pulled. James Ryan, working Rob Killjoy, Rob gave him his pile driver, and James's knee hit himself in the mouth in the same situation. And Austin Jordan, I think 2 weeks ago in AEWF, did a splash in the corner and pretty much Cesaro'd himself and chipped his teeth and so I started a trend.
And you wear a mouth guard now, don't you, when you
Yeah,
wrestle?
I wear a mouth guard now just because I'm very cautious. I'd rather be safe than sorry.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I
So-
remember you wearing that against Darius, PWX.
Yeah, that was the first weekend I had a mouth guard, and it was the big, bulky, awkward one you can buy off Amazon for $10. So I couldn't breathe or anything with it either, so I was like, nah. So I ordered some Sisu ones that have air holes in them so I can breathe and talk.
Gotcha.
I was going to ask that. Is it very hard to adjust to that, or are you able to talk and understand, when you're working the match?
Some people don't have issues. The one I got from Amazon, oh god, I had to keep taking it out. So I'm like, this is terrible. And then he'd go to grab me, oh, it's back in. But the Sisu ones, they're not really an issue if you mold them right. I know. After I got the stent taken off my teeth, where I had molded the mouth guards to me, I tried to wear them the next week, and they were just falling out, so I had to remold them. But other than that, no, they're not really an issue
Okay, good.
if you mold them right.
All right, so recently, believe it was at PCW, I saw it live. You brought a Frosted Flakes box, and your image was on the box.
Yep.
Where'd that come from?
I have the best grandma in the world because she loves, seeing me succeed at something such as wrestling. And the last show she came to or something, I autographed a picture for her. So she took that, sent it to Frosted Flakes or Kellogg's, and was like, I want to get this put on a box. And she, on Christmas Eve, she was very adamant about me opening it. She couldn't wait until the next morning when we usually do Christmas. She's like, no, you have to open this now. I opened it, and there's a remote control or electronic T-Rex that walks and stuff. I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. She's like, no, open this one. So open it. This is awesome. So it is now on my gimmick table. It's looking cereal. You can't eat it. There is cereal inside it, so I might get hungry one day.
All right, well, our question from one of our viewers, Cody Fluffman, sent this in, and I believe it was based on him seeing that.
Yeah.
Forget the Frosted Flake box. You can't do Frosted Flakes. If you could choose a cereal box to be on, other than Frosted Flakes, what would you choose? And thank you, Cody, for sending us that
That's a
question.
great question. I'll probably choose maybe either Captain Crunch or Frosted Flakes, just because not
You
Frosted
said
Flakes.
you can't say Frosted Flakes, Tracer.
Not Frosted Flakes. Excuse me. You put that idea in my head. Fruity Pebbles. There we go.
Pebbles. Okay.
Some all-time faves.
Yeah, those are delicious. So one of those two. There's all kinds of good cereal out.
Mm-hmm.
It's just hard to pick. I was telling High Profile they need to do the same thing with like the Eggos cereal.
Yeah.
Like that would be so good for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, I'm going to turn it over to Nate to cover our over-the-top rope question.
All right. Every interview we have a feature called Over the Top Rope, where we ask the previous person that we interviewed, hey, we're talking to so-and-so next interview. Just give us a question for them. So we talked to Mr. Sleaze
Okay.
last interview, and his question for you is in reference to the catchphrase, X is going to give it to you. That's a DMX. Is that where it came from? Okay. He wants to know, so X is going to give it to you. Who is the you is directed to? Is that towards the fans? Is that towards your opponent? The referee? You know.
That's gender neutral. It could be for anybody.
Okay.
So like, it could be for my opponent, referee, if he messes with me, like Chris Wiggins at the last PCW
yeah,
show.
Yeah, we were there for that.
You give it to him for sure on that.
I did. I kicked him hard. He deserved it.
Come on, poor Wiggins.
Let's see. Fans, I've accidentally kicked from dives and such. So, just anybody.
Anybody in roundhouse kick range is
Yeah.
okay.
All right. All right, so our next feature is a new feature for 2018. Mr. Sleaze has already gone through this feature, so you're actually the second person to ever get this, and we call it a hot tag. Nate's going to ask you or throw out some names here, and basically, in short order, tell us what first comes to your mind. It doesn't have to be a single word, but Nate described it as like
Twitter answer.
140 characters or less. What comes to your mind when you hear these names or items or subject matters?
All right.
Go ahead,
Let's
Nate.
do it. Family Feud style.
That's
First
right.
one is Joshua Cutshaw.
Crazy.
Crazy. Dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs. Oh, extinct.
Extinct, all right.
They are dead.
So we're just going with facts on this.
Yeah.
He's crazy. They're extinct.
I prefer the gummy bears over gummy dinosaurs, if anybody's wondering.
How about Evacare? One word, short answer.
Short answer. Promote happy, healthy lifestyle. Love it.
Okay. Darius Lockhart.
Be a revolutionary, for sure.
It's on the sleeve also.
There you go.
James Drake.
Ouchtown population me.
Yes. Rob Killjoy.
Gosh. Ugly, yet innovative.
Okay, yeah, that's accurate.
Ugly and innovative. There we go.
Especially the innovative part. Okay, he's ugly too. All right, Jason Kincaid.
Creative and absolutely positive.
Good. All right, now we are going to our feature called the 10 Count. 10 Count is basically a bucket of questions that we can pull out and ask any wrestler. So, my first 10 Count question for you is, who's your dream match? Who would it be with, dead and alive? So you pick anybody in their prime to wrestle, dead and alive.
Dead and alive.
Doesn't have to be indie guys only.
All right.
Gosh, that's a tough one. I've always wanted to work Paul London just because we have very similar styles. And I grew up, watching his matches and thought he was just one of the absolute coolest guys. So Paul London would be for the alive one, and I would say Chris Benoit for the not alive part,
Yeah,
just
that'd be
because he was very technical and he seemed like he would have a lot to offer, like teaching wise. So that'd be a learning experience.
Okay, that's good. So you're an athlete. Have you ever played any other sports?
Yes, I played baseball for 9 years. It got boring. They would always I'm left-handed, so they would put me in the outfield, and I would just stand out there and kick dirt for
Huh.
X amount of people.
X intended.
Yeah.
Pun intended.
I played basketball for 4 years, and then I wrestled all 4 years of high school. I did track in middle school for a little while, and football, but I was the smallest guy on the football team, so I quit that. And track, I didn't really like running, so.
All right. Question number 4. Here in the Augusta area, several years ago, we started getting these restaurants popping up. And I didn't realize at the time, but they're super huge with people in the Carolinas. So we've had a lot of fun asking this question due to the different combinations that are possible. So what's your favorite cookout order? What's your typical, your go-to, your usual?
Cookout order is a chicken strip tray with double nuggets and a huge sweet tea.
So all chicken.
All chicken.
Chicken with chicken, okay. Pick a superpower.
Teleportation.
Why?
So you can make it to shows whenever you want to, or make it home whenever you want or need to. Or, it could be like, oh, I've got to be at this show, but I'm also booked at that one. Double shot.
There you go.
Boom.
Okay. Like
Or a show's in New York and you're in Thompson, Georgia.
Mhm.
It's like, okay, I'm there.
Nice.
It'd make traveling a lot easier. So
No more 4-hour drives to
yeah.
hear from.
Yeah, no more 4-hour drives by myself to get to shows. It'd be just like, all right, I'm there.
Speaking of cars, what was your first car?
My first car, I believe, was a '96 Chevy Cavalier.
Any fun stories with the vehicle?
That vehicle, not really. Oh, actually, yes. I forgot about it. Me and some friends went to see the midnight showing of the second Transformers movie.
Mm-hmm.
Coming home, I believe someone threw a rock off a bridge, like a massive chunk.
Oh, jeez.
Like, didn't shatter my windshield, but definitely hit it and like kind of knocked it in and freaked us all out. Like, I was definitely in shock when the cop showed up. The cop was asking me questions. I was like, yes, sir. Asked me another question. I said, yes, ma'am. And I think it's just because of, say yes, sir, yes, ma'am to people. It's like, okay. So I did just that.
That's good.
Okay. That's your 5.
That's my 5.
So question 6 on the 10 count. If you're stuck in an alley, you can't get out of this, you have to fight. Pick 2 wrestlers, indie wrestlers, to have your back in a street fight.
Josh Cutshaw, James Drake. Josh Cutshaw, he's been in a few fights. I've been downtown with him, and I've seen how crazy he can get. He's told me stories about being jumped by some people while he was a little buzzed. Like 3 guys, he stood up after his buzz wore off, and they ran. So he punched a sign and broke it in half. And I'm not talking like, a little wooden sign. I'm talking about a street sign, like
Wow.
police issue state grade, like yield sign, in half, and then he was arrested.
Wow.
Wow. All right, question number 7. What is one thing you would like to see changed in the pro wrestling business? We call this the genie in a bottle. If you could change anything, it could be on any level too, indie, pro, WWE, whatever.
I would just change like the petty like BS going around, like people talking, like trying to start rumors and stuff about other people, and I just want everyone to get along. Like that's not so much to ask, because we're all in this business together for a reason, and it's because we love wrestling. We don't need to bring all that stuff outside of wrestling into it, like, oh, this person's with this person, or these people are fighting. I don't care. I'm here to wrestle, make money, and get away from you people. So just be nicer to each other, guys. It's not difficult.
Okay. And I should point out that Ethan Case, almost a year ago, your trainer, gave kind of a similar answer.
Yeah.
And he said something about cutting out the negativity and that sort of thing in the locker rooms. And so similar answer there. So question number 8. Who's the GOAT?
The GOAT, the greatest of all time, and I know that Chip Day said this, probably a few other people, but Shawn Michaels is the greatest of all time. He's, late 40s, early 50s right now? He looks like he could still go another 20 years.
Yeah.
Like, he looks phenomenal, was great in his prime. Actually, one of my memorable matches from him was, I believe, it was December 2003. I can't remember specifics, but Triple H, Shawn Michaels for the title, Monday Night Raw. phenomenal match. They went like 30 minutes. Shawn Michaels his Sweet Chin Music, falls into the cover. 1, 2, 3. Like, I don't remember how old I was, but I'm losing my mind. Like, Shawn Michaels the champion, yes, yes. Like flipping tables and stuff. And but then Eric Bischoff comes and it's like, your shoulders were down too. It's a draw. And it was just one of those like emotional draw. Like they drew me in, and it's like they took it away. It's like, oh,
Okay.
they got me. But that, just because of that, the storytelling that he brings to any match, whether it be, you know, when he faced Hogan at SummerSlam or Ric Flair at WrestleMania, just any match he has like tells a story. So it's kind of emotional whenever you watch him.
So that match you said he took on Ric Flair.
Yeah.
You don't think Ric Flair's the GOAT? Just checking. I don't question your choice, but...
I think you just did.
It sounds like it.
Well, you just mentioned Shawn Michaels could go another 20 years. Ric Flair was at that point in that match and brought you those emotions just like Shawn Michaels did.
No.
Just saying.
Just saying.
By the way,
Hang on,
Sleeve
did I
said...
say that was Ric Flair?
Yeah.
In that 2003 match?
Said Flair and
Did I say Flair?
Michaels, didn't
No,
you?
he said Phil and Triple H.
It was Shawn Michaels and Triple H.
I mean, Michaels and Triple H.
Oh, I thought you said Flair.
I just said Flair.
You mentioned Flair.
Was at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Sorry. All right.
Does this help with the memory or focus or anything like that? Or?
Yeah, it helps with focus. There's a lot of vitamins and minerals in here. I've got some in my bag you can have.
Is there a free sample available?
Yeah.
I guess we hear everybody but Flair, and it kind of shocks me sometimes.
Flair's my goat
I
personally, but
I think that honestly, a lot of people, like, because I don't know, maybe Flair was kind of before a lot of people that are being interviewed now, because we're all still fairly young.
You are fairly young. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
like Chip and Ethan, they're only like 28, 30. So
Sure.
I mean, I can get it because Flair was, you know, kind of before us now. But I mean, he's definitely brought some emotional matches too. But we kind of weren't around to respect, you know, him and Dusty Rhodes.
so you didn't see Flair in his prime, basically.
Basically.
Week to week. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like, you guys might see him as the greatest of all time, and I respect that view.
Okay.
Nobody's wrong.
No, it's an opinion.
Yeah,
It's an opinion.
Exactly.
Well, I'm going to go off track here.
Oh,
We're running pretty ahead of schedule.
yeah, we're
So
doing good.
if you were to create a Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling, whose four faces would be on it? Michael's obviously, so who are the other three?
Shawn Michaels for sure. Ric Flair would be up there.
You don't have to say Flair just because we said it.
No, I feel like he's definitely one of the pioneers.
All right.
Dusty Rhodes for sure, and then some people might not agree with this one. Brian Kendrick, I feel like he's a great pioneer from when he started. He was kind of like this punk, arrogant kid, but he's come such a long way in like shaping other people. He's got a real great mind for, you know, psychology now that you can tell in his work and like how he like kind of goes people on into like how he did with Jack Gallagher and how he was doing with Tozawa, like kind of drawing them in, like, I'm gonna teach you, you know, here's these lessons, you're gonna learn them, or I'm just gonna keep beating the crap out of you. Which, you know, Tozawa was like, no, I'm good, but, you know, Jack Gallagher on the other hand, like, they played it into, okay, I'm gonna be your trainee, like, I'm gonna take you under my wing as my mentor. So,
Well, speaking of Kendrick, I think there's quite a few guys that are in NXT or WWE that he actually trained at this point. I know I read somebody's name the other day that's in NXT that he trained, so he's a big influence that people may not realize as well. Okay, so there's Mount Rushmore, and that's not part of the 10 count. Next on the 10 count is what we call lose one, and typically we'll come up with something that we feel is important to the person. Could be favorite movies, favorite actors, wrestling influences, things like that. And the best questions come when I can, you know, stump you for a moment. So I hadn't thought about this until we started 10 count.
okay.
Nate, sorry.
Okay.
But my question for you for the lose one is, on one side you lose advocate, so this stuff never existed, your shirt, forget about it, you know, you're still drinking Monsters, all right? Or you lose the fact that you were trained by Ethan Case. You're just either figuring out on your own or having to find someone else to train you. And again, when I say you lose it forever. It's not like Avocare gets invented next year or you meet Ethan down the road. It doesn't happen. So pick one to lose.
I'm going to lose Avocare.
Losing Avocare. So the training by Ethan Case is that important, Ethan. So good for you.
It definitely helped to shape where I am as far as like career. You know, getting the opportunities I have. If I hadn't have been, you know, from like that point in time, being directed in the right, like, you know, the right training. You know, what's right, what's wrong in wrestling, like holds and, you know, learning the psychology. I wouldn't be even sitting here talking to you guys.
Okay.
I would still be in some garage in North Carolina, you know, wrestling the same like 10 people that barely lace up boots.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay. All right, and the last question on 10 count, number 10 here, is called envy. So our last interview was with Mr. Sleaze.
okay.
So you can take something from Mr. Sleaze. It can be moveset, finishing move, gimmick, entrance music, anything. You can take his car if you want. What one thing would you take from Mr. Sleaze that you can use?
I like his promo skills, actually. I would probably take that just because he knows what to talk about and doesn't like stutter over his words.
Sure.
Me, I'm kind of like that when it comes to like, we need a promo from you. Really? We got to do that today? Okay. Or like if they're gonna like tape one like a CWF, it takes like 10 takes or something, and it's like I'll get mad at myself, just like you should know this. But what's funny is other people will ask me about promos, and I kind of critique them. And
Yeah.
Cutshaw, he'll be one to like you don't even know promos. Like, why are you giving other people advice? It's like, shh. Shut up, you're crazy.
All of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cutshaw was actually good at promos, though, that's for sure.
Mhm.
All right, well, that's it on the 10 count, and that's going to wrap us up. Plug yourself here. Where can people find you, follow you, book you?
Oh, let's see. On Twitter and Instagram, at TracerX with 5 R's before the X. Facebook, Trent Weatherman. YouTube, TracerX, just search that, or Trent Weatherman. You'll find my channel. There's a few on there, especially that video of Still Real to Her, Damn It. You can view my mom and watch that video that's got over like 3,000 views.
Wow.
I'll have to send you guys that.
Please do.
You'll
I
enjoy
want
it.
to see that for sure.
Let's see, booked tonight at Viral Pro. Next weekend, February 18th at PWX, and February 24th at PCW.
Okay. This probably won't be out before at least PWX, but if someone wanted to book you, how should they contact you? Through Facebook or you got an email?
Through
or?
any of the social medias, or email tracerx@gmail.com with three R's before the X.
Okay. It's tracerx@gmail.com.
Yep.
All right. So, as we've said, this guy is a ratings machine. We've seen him in matches all over the place, and you've never disappointed us. He always brings down the house. So, if you got a promotion, book this guy. He will travel, even if it's alone. Am I right?
I'll ride with all my friends. I promise.
All his
Scouts
friends.
honor.
So that's it for us. Got anything for us?
No, we're good.
All right.
We can follow us on Instagram at suplexes_mics, Twitter at suplexes_mics, Facebook.com/suplexes_mics.
Imagine that.
Directly to our YouTube channel is tinyurl.com/suplexes_mics.
Yeah.
So like us, follow us, comment, send us messages, ideas for questions, people
Yes.
you might want us to interview. So let us know that.
Absolutely. And do you want to mention anything about contacting you for Avocare? Same method?
Yeah, same method. All social medias, email. And if you feel the need to want to check out any products, avocare.com. And shoot me a message. I'll send you my distributor ID. We can get you hooked up. Maybe get you a few discounts. You never know.
There you go. Well, thank you for being here, and
Thanks
we
for having
look
me.
forward to seeing you wrestle tonight, just like we always do.
All
And
right.
that's it.
That's it. Thanks for watching.
Bye.